Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there's lots to negotiate about. So I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news, keeping you up to date of what players are linked with Manchester United. So I am going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Jadon Sancho. Also these huge developments on James Maddison. Gonna also give you the latest news on Saul Niguez because there's been quite a few media outlets saying that Man United are convinced they can sign Saul Niguez in the summer, and we're seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba, and there's lots of other things to talk about. So the first topic I'm going to start with is Jadon Sancho. So according to the Irish Independent, it's stemming from the Irish Independent, this story saying that Jadon Sancho has unofficially confirmed that he will make a transfer to Manchester United this summer. Now, this is totally contrast to what was coming out yesterday out of the mainstream media, because yesterday, the Borussia Dortmund CEO did say he will not stand in Jadon Sancho's way if he does want to leave Borussia Dortmund this summer. But Borussia Dortmund have confirmed that, if Man United do want to sign Jadon Sancho, we will have to pay the full asking price, which I do believe will be around £120 million. But minimum, Jadon Sancho is going to cost us £100 million. But either figure is going to make him our most expensive player, because our most expensive player at the moment is Paul Pogba, who we paid £89 million for. And it's going to also make him a record signing in the Premier League. And I think, make him the most expensive British player in history. So this is what it basically said. I was just reading the Daily Express, and it says, Man United are willing to also we're willing to make Jadon Sancho our highest paid player, because we're willing to offer him around £400,000 a week. So the Irish Independent have confirmed that Man United have beaten Liverpool and Chelsea to the signing of Jadon Sancho, because also Liverpool have expressed their interest in the player. There'd be no point in him going to Liverpool from my own perception, because he wouldn't get in Liverpool's team week in, week out. The only way he'd get chances at Liverpool if Liverpool either sold Salah, Firmino or Mane. Like I mentioned, Chelsea have been in there for him, Real Madrid, PSG. So many clubs have expressed their interest in Jadon Sancho. Now, obviously, Jadon Sancho revealed another main explanation why he wants to come to Manchester United, and that's because of three players. Now, obviously, he's got a really, really good friendship with Marcus Rashford. They do know each other really, really well because they are both English. Also, too, he's an admirer of Anthony Martial, and he also likes Mason Greenwood a lot. And Marcus Rashford has actually been talking with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recently about Jadon Sancho. So yeah, and obviously Fabrizio Romano, who is an Italian journalist and tends to be reliable. Don't forget, last week he broke out the news saying that Man United have been in contact with Jadon Sancho's agent for around 2 months. So this is what it basically said. And obviously Duncan Castles, he reported out last month saying that Manchester United are the favourites to sign Jadon Sancho. But Sky in Germany, they also reported out last month saying that Jadon Sancho is expected to leave Borussia Dortmund at the end of the season and that. But, I think it would be beneficial, for Jadon Sancho to come back to the Premier League, because don't forget, before he was at Borussia Dortmund, he enjoyed a couple of years with Manchester City, but never really got assured any first team opportunities at Manchester City, and this is the main explanation why he left Manchester City to join Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund only paid around 7 or 8 million for him, so Borussia Dortmund will look at it from a financial point of view. They're going to say, look, we're going to make a huge profit on the player, because basically we got him from next to nothing. He's still under contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022 is the player. By the way, Manchester United are willing to offer him the iconic number 7. Obviously, like I mentioned, we've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. And I think, Jadon Sancho is capable of following their footsteps. I think the most recent number 7 Man United had was Alexis Sanchez. Wasn't so good. He endured a difficult 18 months at Man United. Don't forget at one point we had Memphis Depay under the Van Gaal era, and he endured a very, very difficult time. But I'm excited about the prospect of Jadon Sancho coming in, and Sancho's now into his third season as a Borussia Dortmund player. You know, I think he was dropped in quite a lot of games earlier on in the season, but I think since his arrival in Germany, I've got to say he has been a revelation. Just recently turned 20 years of age as Jadon Sancho, so he would fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because Solskjaer still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players to Manchester United and that, you know. But, you know, we was relentlessly linked with Jadon Sancho last year, but the main explanation why we didn't get Jadon Sancho last year is because, you know, we failed to qualify for the Champions League and that. And when you're not in Champions League football, it's going to be hard, you know, to get the right calibre players in. But Man United are willing to, you know, meet what Borussia Dortmund are demanding. So it's probably very, very imminent that he's going to be our first signing in the summer transfer window and our sixth signing overall under the Solskjaer era. And that is if Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager next season. But I think he'll complement our attacking line really, really well, because Sancho's a player that can create chances, he can score goals, his runs on and off the ball are very, very good. So just put that into the equation. But it says, you know, Man United are still basically working on his contracts, but a verbal agreement between Man United and Borussia Dortmund has now happened and that. So yeah, so Jadon Sancho does want to make the move to Manchester United, and Dortmund have come to accept the fact that he does want to leave at the end of the season. So that's the news on Jadon Sancho. He's unofficially confirmed that he will be making a transfer to Manchester United in the summer, and that is stemming, again, I'll reiterate what I said, that is stemming from the Irish Independent. So that's the latest news on Jadon Sancho. Now, we'll delve into the news on James Maddison, then I'll delve into the news on Saul Niguez. So the news now on James Maddison is, I think, you know, Man United are set to miss out on James Maddison, and I think, you know, we are going to have to accept the fact that we're going to miss out on Maddison. Because I think he's expected to sign a new deal with Leicester, is James Maddison, a new contract. Brendan Rodgers come out and he's given his overarching view on that, on the speculation. You know, he basically insists that James Maddison is happy at Leicester, and, you know, he basically, you know, said that Leicester have been in negotiations over getting Maddison a new contract, you know, for the vast majority of this season. As it stands at the moment, Maddison is under contract with Leicester until 2023, so he's still got around 3 years remaining on his contract. Now, a few clubs have expressed their interest in James Maddison. Revert back to last summer, Manchester United were in for James Maddison. Now, if he was to be for sale, James Maddison, he would cost maybe in the 60-odd or 70-odd million pound range. And, you know, Leicester don't want to sell him, though, because they do know how much of an imperative player that James Maddison is. You know, this is James Maddison's second season with Leicester, and he's been a revelation. So basically he's replicating what he did in his debut season. Don't forget, last season James Maddison created more chances than any other player in the Premier League. So that's a very, very good start. Leicester did pay around £20 million to him from Norwich in the summer of 2018. Also, you know, he had a loan spell with Aberdeen, and he also began his career with Coventry, did the play. Is he now, 24 years of age, James Maddison? You know, he's predominantly an attacking midfielder. You can also put him on the wing. And I'd have loved Man United to sign James Maddison, to be quite honest with you, because he's well proven in that in the Premier League. He's a player that can create chances, and I think he'd go well alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. But, you know, it's looking very, very unlikely that Manchester United are going to get him. I think James Maddison's on around £55,000 a week at Leicester, but if he signs a new contract, then obviously his wages will increase, will the players. But I do like him a lot, James Maddison. But Leicester have lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. You know, revert back to last summer, they lost Harry Maguire to us for £80 million. But Leicester look at it from a financial point of view, saying, look, we got a substantial amount for him. They also lost Raheem Mahrez to City in the summer of 2018. They also lost Kante and Danny Drinkwater to Chelsea. But Leicester did recruit quite a few players in last summer, don't forget. You know, I think they got likes of Dennis Praet in, didn't they? They got Yuri Tillemans. Dennis Praet, Yuri Tillemans. You know, they got a few in last summer, did Leicester. They recruited quite a few players in. James Justin, they also got him in. So I think they recruited around, was it 4 or 5 players in last summer, did Leicester. So yeah, James Maddison, I think, will be signing a new contract with them. So I think, there's more chance of us getting Jack Grealish over James Maddison, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. And, don't forget Rio Ferdinand recently gave his overarching view on it, and he says, Man United should prioritise Jack Grealish over James Maddison. And Jack Grealish will probably cost us in the 60 odd or 70 odd million pound range, and that is if Aston Villa do avoid relegation in that. So that's the news on that. I also want to now give you the news on Saul Niguez. So I was reading some media outlets yesterday, and it says, that Manchester United are convinced that they can finalise a club record transfer for Saul Niguez. Now, he's expected to cost us in the region of around £135 million. Now, obviously, that figure would make him our most expensive signing, because that's his release clause. Saul Niguez is around £135 million. Now, like I mentioned, we're seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. Now, Man United and Manchester City have expressed their interest in Saul Niguez. Reports came out about this, I think, last week, saying, that we'd been interested in the player, and he'd refused to sign a new contract with Atletico Madrid because Atletico Madrid have been in negotiations over trying to get, Saul Niguez a new contract. Revert back to 2017, which was 3 years ago. Saul Niguez signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid, and he's still got around 6 years left now on his contract. So he's under contract with Atletico Madrid until 2026 is the player. Now he's close to 300 appearances for Atletico Madrid in all competitions. He's close to 300 appearances is the player. He is around 25 years of age, is Saul Niguez, so he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. He spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid, progressing up their youth academy and that. I think he's been at Atletico Madrid for the vast majority of his career. I think there was only one season when he wasn't at Atletico Madrid, but he has so far spent the entirety of his career in Spain as the player. Man United did instruct personal scouts to watch him during Atletico Madrid's 3-2 win against Liverpool in the last 16 of the Champions League. Now, when Saul Niguez was younger, he was actually predominantly a centre-half, but now he can play as a central midfielder, and he can also play as a holding midfielder, can the player in that. So do you think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United? Do you think he'd go well alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield? Because Solskjaer is looking for someone to partner up with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield and that, So this is what, Solskjaer is looking to do. So would you like to see Saul Niguez come to Manchester United? As you all know, we've been in for quite a few Atletico Madrid players. Thomas Lemar, who was in for him the other week. Also, too, Thomas Partey. I gave you the news about him yesterday. So there's quite a lot of midfielders on our agenda. But, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed that he wants Manchester United to make around 3 signings in the summer, because that's how many signings he believes that Manchester United need to become title contenders. And, he's looking to basically address the deficiencies in the squad. And he's identified the 2 areas where he wants to strengthen up. He wants to recommend a right winger in, and he also wants to recommend a central midfielder in that. But, we will see what happens. So, do you think Saul Niguez would be a good, adequate replacement for Paul Pogba? Now, I want to give you some news, by the way, on Paul Pogba. Now, basically, there's still uncertainty over his future. Now, there's some reports saying, that we're confident that Paul Pogba will remain at Manchester United next season, due to the coronavirus pandemic. And we're very sceptical that Real Madrid or Juventus can finalise a deal for the player. Now, we're looking to get at least £100 million if we do sell Paul Pogba this summer. So what we're basically planning to do is, generate that money from his departure, then put that money on Saul Niguez. That's what Manchester United are basically planning to do. Now, I was reading some stories, regarding Paul Pogba yesterday, and he did actually, say that Man United are about, he said the club are about winning trophies and stuff like that. About winning trophies, and he basically reminisced our 2017 Europa League win, when we beat Ajax in the final by 2-0. And Paul Pogba did also say that more is expected to come, you know, when football does return. And also too, Paul Pogba recently came out and praised Jesse Lingard. He came out and praised Jesse Lingard, you know, for his performances, you know, against the big clubs and that. Because I think Lingard has scored in like 3 finals for Manchester United and that. But I don't know if Pogba's going to be leaving the football club in the summer. Don't forget, there's also been recent stories out saying that, you know, there could be a swap deal on the cards between Aaron Ramsey and Paul Pogba. Aaron Ramsey coming to Manchester United and Paul Pogba going back to Juventus. Now, I think Solskjaer's given his overarching view on this, and he actually, you know, said that he's opened to signing Aaron Ramsey is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This is what Solskjaer's come out and said. Now, obviously, you know, Aaron Ramsey's this is his first season with Juventus, and he's enjoyed a very, very difficult time, you know, with injuries, etc., etc. Juventus got him on a free transfer in the summer of 2019 from Arsenal, and he's on a substantial amount. He's on around 400 grand a week at Juventus, and that could be the stumbling block of him, you know, coming to Manchester United as part of a swap deal of Pogba making a return back to Turin. But he's enjoyed a very, very difficult time at Juventus as Aaron Ramsey. You know, he's totally comparison to how he was at Arsenal, because he was very, very good at Arsenal. He was a good long-serving player for them because he enjoyed 11 years with Arsenal, so he was with them over a decade. I think he won around 3 FA Cups with Arsenal, scored around 60 odd goals in all competitions. I think he made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions, scored 40 goals in 262 Premier League games, did Aaron Ramsey. Arsenal got him, you know, from Cardiff for around £5 million. He was in Cardiff youth set up for around 8 years, was the player. And don't forget, back in 2008, you know, we wanted, you know, to get Aaron Ramsey, but Arsenal, of course, got him instead. So would you like to see Aaron Ramsey come to United as part of a swap deal of probably going to Juventus? Aaron Ramsey is predominantly a box-to-box midfielder, but you can also play him on both flanks, so his versatility is very, very good. And Aaron Ramsey is, 29 years of age. He's 29 years of age, so he's aging up a bit, is Aaron Ramsey now. So I want to know in the comments below, would you take Aaron Ramsey at Manchester United? Would you take Aaron Ramsey at Manchester United? But revert back to what I said about Paul Pogba. I don't know whether he's going to be staying or I don't know whether he's going to be going. But either way, he will play for Manchester United again, because I think when the season does resume, he's expected to play for Manchester United again, is Paul Pogba. Because Pogba's appearances have been limited this season. He's only played 8 times this season for the football club. But since he rejoined the football club from Juventus anyway, sustained quite a lot of injuries and he's mainly enjoyed a very, very difficult time. The vast majority of his performances since he rejoined have been totally comparison to his ones in Turin. Now, as you all know, Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has been talking a lot, you know, since the turn of the year. You know, his recent comments have been like, you know, he wants to take a great footballer to Real Madrid. This is what he said. And he also does believe that Paul Pogba is having a complicated time at Manchester United and that. And also came out near the start of the year and he was saying like Paul Pogba is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's property. This is some of the stuff he was saying. And he also criticised Gary Neville, but at least in the last couple of years, Mini Raiola has been working on getting his client a transfer completed away from Manchester United and stuff like that. But, you know, there's some reports saying that he's expected to join Real Madrid in the summer. You know, that's what some reports are saying. You know, PSG and Barcelona have also been in for him in the past, but we just basically need to resolve his future. Pogba has got 2 years left on his current contract. 1 year with an option of a further year. Probably more than likely Man United will trigger that 1 year extension on his contract. Yes, he will. Ed Woodward, don't forget, has been in negotiations with Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, to try and resolve his future and to try and persuade Mini Raiola to stop making public attacks against the club, because he's made a number of attacks against the football club this year as Mini Raiola. But obviously, you know, last summer, you know, Pogba revealed that he wanted to leave, so he's got the same perception as what he's got now. But last summer, we wanted around £180 million. That's just over double than what we paid for him. And Real Madrid, of course, were not willing to pay that. Now we want at least £100 million for the player. Don't forget, Pogba enjoyed a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era, such as a lot of top players enjoyed a difficult time under the Mourinho era. We also had Pogba when he was a lot younger, under the Alex Ferguson era, but due to limited appearances, we had to let him go on a free transfer. But the club paid 89 million for him. He's on around £300,000 a week at the moment, so there's still uncertainty over his future. So that's the latest news on Paul Pogba. I also give you the news, didn't I, yesterday on Federico Valverde from Real Madrid. He also says that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has expressed an interest in him. Federico Valverde, he's only the age of 21, is this player. Now, I think he's predominantly a box-to-box midfielder, but he can also deploy him as an attacking mid, and I think he can also play as a holding midfielder, if I'm right, can Federico Valverde. Now, like I updated you yesterday, there was reports coming out basically saying that Real Madrid are not determined to sell the player, and Man United have got to trigger his substantial £450 million release clause. Now, he's got a contract with Real Madrid until 2025, has the player. Now, he actually began his career with Penarel. He was in their youth academy, for several years, was a player. He also, don't forget, had a loan spell with Deportivo La Coruña. So he's another player that Manchester United have expressed their interest in. So we're basically seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. Now, I think a lot of United fans are a huge admirer of the player, and they would like to see him come to Man United as part of a swap deal of Pogba going to Real Madrid and that. But, since the likes of Dani Ceballos and Mateo Kovacic left, he's been given more of a role as Federico Valverde. So, yeah, he's another midfielder on our agenda. So, yeah, there's a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda, and, it is good that we are making plans for the summer transfer window, because Solskjaer has got the backing of Ed Woodward, don't forget. He's also got the backing of the Glazers. Also, still quite a lot of our players are determined to back Solskjaer. Now, I do believe from my own perception that Solskjaer does deserve at least another season at Manchester United. He deserves at least another season. Now, if it doesn't work out going on into next season, then I would get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. As it is at the moment, including the 3 months when he was the interim manager, Solskjaer has been at Manchester United now for around 15 months. He's been here 15 months, so he has been here over a year, but he's been Manchester United manager on a permanent basis for officially a year. And obviously, it's only his first full season at the football club, and it is a transition period, and like Solskjaer revealed at the beginning of the year, he's hopeful that we can get through this transition period. And don't forget, Solskjaer the other week, he was coming out and talking about how he had to overhaul Manchester United. When he replaced Jose Mourinho back in December 2018, because he was talking about, how a lot of things needed to be changed. And I think quite a few things have changed since Solskjaer's come in than what I saw under Mourinho. He's changed the players, he's also changed the tactics, he's changed the personnel. And don't forget, Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Man United team, because analysing the vast majority of this team, it's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. The vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho, because take into account Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into Man United and spent around £400 million at the football club. And yeah, and also too, he's still inheriting some players either from the Van Gaal era, they still matter either from the Moyes era. Obviously, the vast majority of the players have left since the Ferguson era, but there's still, I think, Jones here and De Gea here from the Alex Ferguson era. So Solskjaer does deserve at least one more or even maybe two more transfer windows to see who else he can recommend in to the football club. So, and obviously, as you saw my video a couple of days ago, I've given you, some positives so far from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure, and I've also given you some negatives from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure so far. Like I mentioned, the positives is that, our record against the big six sides this season has been very, very good, because I think we've registered 17 points against the big six sides this season. So his approach to big games, Solskjaer's, have been very, very good. A prime example, he's showed a lot of tactical flexibility and he's been making the right decisions. We haven't been so great against lower opposition though this season, so you can say that is a negative. Also, he's promoted the youth really, really well as Solskjaer, because the young players have been given their opportunities, so that's something else I've got to credit him for. He's also progressed to the last 8 of the Europa League. Also progressed to the quarter-final of the FA Cup, and the FA Cup and the Europa League are two priorities for Manchester United, because it is a chance for us getting some silverware on the board. Also, so far, Solskjaer's recruited 5 players in 3 transfer windows and spent around £220 million on them. Yes, he has. Didn't get anyone in his first transfer window, but in the past 2 windows, he's recruited 5 players in, and they have done really, really well. As the players he recruited in was James, Bazaka, Maguire, Fernandes, and Odin Igalo, and they've all done really, really well. He's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. I think around 9 players have left in total since he came in. Young left this year. After he endured 8.5 years at Manchester United, he went to Inter Milan for around 1.5 million. We saw Rojo go out on loan to Estudiantes. More than likely, we'll negotiate on getting rid of Rojo on a permanent transfer when his loan spell ends with Estudiantes. Also, too, we saw Chris Smalling go out on loan to Roma last summer after he endured 9 years at Manchester United, and he's doing now really, really well at Roma. We saw Darmian go last summer. We saw Herrera go after he endured 5 years at the club. We saw Fellaini go back in January 2019. He was the first player to leave Man United under the Solskjaer era. Also, too, we saw Lukaku go to Inter Milan last summer for £70 million, and Sanchez went out on loan to Inter Milan, and we'll be negotiating on getting rid of him on a permanent transfer. Because obviously, despite the fact that he's on loan at Inter Milan, Man United are still paying the vast majority of Alexis Sanchez's wages. Because when he was at the club, we was paying him around £400,000 a week, so he was like the highest paid player was Alexis Sanchez. And don't forget, we have got Dean Henderson out on loan, but he's expected to come back to Man United after his loan spell with Sheffield United, and could possibly become our number 1 goalkeeper. And then that means David De Gea then will lose his place in the team. So I've got to credit Solskjaer for that. Valencia as well, he left at the end of last season after he endured 10 years at Manchester United. But I do expect around 4 to 5 players to go in the summer. We're planning to get rid of around 4 or 5, maybe 6 could even go in the summer. But the players I expect to go in the summer, Phil Jones is one player I definitely expect to go. I expect Lingard and Pereira to both go, because they are definitely 2 liabilities, are Lingard and Pereira. Angel Gomez, I'm sceptical that he will go. There is uncertainty over Angel Gomez's future, to be fair, but don't forget, recently he did say that Man United had offered Angel Gomez a new contract worth around £30,000 a week, plus the option of a 3rd year. So hopefully we can convince him to sign a new contract. He's only seldom played this season under Solskjaer because of uncertainty over his future. Yes. And like I mentioned, David De Gea could possibly go. Fosu Mensah, possibly he's another player that could be moved on. Maybe he could be moved on, Fosu Mensah. Smalling, we could get rid of him on a permanent transfer. So yeah, we're going to see quite a lot of players depart the football club in the summer. Also, too, there's another positive you can take as well under the Solskjaer era, that, he has extended quite a lot of players' contracts, especially last year. That's also another positive. We saw Marcus Rashford. He signed, was it a 4-year contract last year with an option of a further year worth £200,000 a week. Last year, was it Martial signed a 5-year deal with a football club. He's on 200 odd grand a week at Manchester United. Mason Greenwood, I think he signed a new contract earlier on in the season until 2023. We also saw Juan Mata, was it last summer? He signed a 2-year contract with an option of a further year. We also saw Lindelof sign a new long-term contract earlier on in the season. Phil Jones, it was a mistake, but we did, give him a new long-term contract last season. De Gea, last September, he signed a new long-term contract worth £375,000 a week. The other week we triggered that 1-year extension on Matic's. Contract. Chong the other week, he signed a 2-year deal with an option of a further year. Luke Shaw a couple of years ago, obviously this wasn't under the Solskjaer era. He signed, was it a 5 or a 5.5 year contract with a football club? There's a few. I think McTominay as well, earlier on in the season, didn't he sign a new contract with the football club? So we have, sorted a lot of players' contracts out. So that's also a positive you can definitely take. But like I mentioned, Solskjaer does deserve more time at Manchester United, but the main explanation why Solskjaer got the job permanently is reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager, because he did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Like I said, won his first 8 games, only lost one of his first 17 and won 14 out of 19 in all competitions, and that was enough to give him the job permanently. The negative is as well, since he got the job permanently, his record has been disastrous, but there again, his record was disastrous at Cardiff. He only enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. He ended up getting Cardiff relegated, and this is the main explanation why he got sacked from Cardiff, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He had a successful spell at Molde, he won a couple of Norwegian titles with Molde, didn't he? But, he lost 5 of his last 9 games towards the back end of last season. That was league games, by the way. And this season, we've enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. But, yeah, he's entitled to more time at the football club. But, we'll never forget what he's done for the club. Whether it works out for him or not, he's still done well for the club because he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. And he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, But it takes some managers time to settle in. Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years when he came in. Jurgen Klopp didn't settle in straight away at Liverpool, so it takes some managers' time. So put that into the equation. But since Fernandes is coming, he's made the difference because our win ratio has been far superior to how it was, before Fernandes obviously got recommended in. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes, below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.